Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So, I actually really liked this comment and I wanted to make a video on it. So, there have been times where I've thought about doing videos on comments, but I never really had the shot to do it. But I'm like, I'm going to do daily in January. So I figured let's go ahead and start now for New Year's. A lot of you guys are going to be busy anyways in the new year or New Year's Day. So I want to go ahead and answer this from Empty the Tanks because I like the questions a lot and I think that they're important to understand. So the first question is, what is mid-sized exactly in terms of BMI? Is it like anything from the middle of healthy BMI to the end of it, like a BMI of 21 to 24.9? So, mid-size, as far as medically, mid-size would be considered overweight if we were to go based on a medical definition. Mid-size, however, is a subjective term in that it does, because it comes from body positivity, it does have to do with actual sizing of clothes. So it's a little bit subjective, but I would say for me personally, my opinion would be if you don't have to wear an extra large. So if you're at a place, like if I reach a point where I have like a medium in pants and a large in shirt, that would be mid-size. Or if I was large and large, or that kind of thing, that would technically be more mid-sized. I would consider it overweight in terms of BMI. So it's not actually a healthy BMI just because that would be thin. Mid-size is not fat, but it's also not thin. It's just a useful term for me because it describes the spectrum of size and it does describe where I will be. There is a phase where you're not fat or thin because it is literally a spectrum. Okay, so now the next point. Also, when Glitter and Laser said she gained 30 pounds of swelling, I thought she was being a bit delusional or lying. Maybe she was telling the truth then. I didn't realize the body could hold on to that much extra water weight. So it can happen, especially within obesity. I think especially like when you have lost weight, you can hold on to water really easily, in my opinion, and especially when you're hypothyroid as well. But also like obviously fluid fluctuation happens like within a woman's cycle, for example. Fluid fluctuation also occurs and it can be kind of drastic, especially when obese. So I think people don't always see how much. When she says 30 pounds, in her case, she does have a lot of health issues. It is possible. However, is it also possible, like in my case, last year, I gained 30 pounds with the winter solstice, or during November and December, I gained 30 pounds. 20 of it was water, 10 of it was fat because I was eating a lot. So it's important to consider, like, are you eating a lot? If you're eating if you're eating a ton of calories and you're gaining weight that would be reflective of those calories, that weight could very well be fat because it's coming from something. If it's not, then it's not. So I don't know in terms of Glitter and Lasers because she has admitted to having toxic ritualistic, E followed by the letter D. I actually have a video where she talked about how she had it, but she barely said it. She would not say it. She would not admit it. She wouldn't admit it whatsoever. Like it took her like almost the entire video to admit that she has the problem. But because she has literally admitted to having the problem, I would say she maybe had a more similar experience where some of it is water and some of it is fat. Because that can happen too. It doesn't have to be directly 30 pounds. Like in my case, it was 10 pounds of fat in 2023 and 20 pounds of water. In 2024, this year, or last year, I forgot. Sorry, I'm being gay right now. Last year, for me, it was just the 20 pounds. So I have to see what happens throughout January. Like tonight, it was the night of the 30th right now. I can spoil some movie magic for you guys. It's the 31st right now because it's currently 2 in the morning because I'm in my Midnights era. But what I would say is I got hungry tonight, so I ate a bit more, probably almost closer to maintenance or at least a more shallow deficit. But I'm also very active. I have an active job. I walked a lot and I went to the gym yesterday, so I was hungrier. And it's still the dead of winter, so I was hungrier. So you have to think like there's all these different factors, but fat will always come from food. If you are not eating, you're not gaining fat. It's not possible. So you have to just, I think people in general have to be honest. And people sometimes do lie. It can happen. But again, you're not going to be losing, like what I was talking about in this video is like I lost 22 pounds last January. That was not 22 pounds of fat. But it can be very jarring even to the fat person. Because let's say you go, like what's typically happened to me, being hypo, you go into December and you get hungrier. Or you go into November even. If you're super morbidly obese, it could even happen earlier. So depending on how bad your health is and how hypo you are, it can be very early. It can be even in like, for me, like last year, it was November 1st. I was done. I was cooked. I was crashing out. I was doing all the Gen Z things. But this year I had the herbs I was taking, which they're kind of like, I have some of them right here. Like ashwagandha. I was taking polyricus ant. I was taking stinging nettle root extract, like that kind of stuff. It's to bring down my estrogen or to help my estrogen come down, to help my thyroid. And so for me, I was able to last until after the first week of December. But I also wasn't super morbidly obese. So I didn't have severe hunger until the first week of December. And then I did eat more for 3 weeks. But I don't lie to you guys. That's the thing too. I just said I didn't eat enough to gain 10 pounds. I didn't. Like I said, if I did eat enough of a surplus with how active I am, especially in December, my job is very busy in December. If I did eat enough to gain still, I probably gained like between 3 to 5 pounds. If that. That's even being kind of a lot. It's probably more like 3, which would come off in a couple weeks. So it's not like that big of a deal, but it shows up as like 20, which is so dramatic because of the swelling. But the other way you can tell if somebody's lying is, does the swelling come off? So like if I were to be like, oh, I'm still swollen and it's like April, June, it's like, ooh, that's not true. That's not hyposwelling by that point. So especially when you get to the equinox, like that mid phase where the day and night is the same, you really start to really lose that water weight. But in my experience, people who are super morbidly obese, and also for myself, when I was super morbidly obese and hypo, I could stay very swollen even through March. So quite a while. But it wasn't as bad last year because I was getting out of it. So I kind of de-swelled by February, so it was earlier. So this year I would expect it to be earlier. But it depends too. You have to manage hunger cues and all these different things. And it is typically harder in the winter. This is a hard time to start. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means be gracious with yourself. Don't think 100% black and white. And if you can, be as active as you can, because it can kind of bridge any gaps. Like, I'm continuing to go to the gym this winter, for example, because I can. I'm not super morbidly obese. That's really going to help me if I'm not perfect. The fact that I'm still going to the gym, it will help me in terms of the overall weight loss for 2025. So it's a lot of different factors that we have to think about when it comes to the swelling. People can lie, but if you're not eating, then you're not gaining fat. And caloric realism reigns supreme no matter what. So just remember that as well. So, yeah. With that, you guys, I'm going to go. I hope you have a happy new year. I hope you're ready to get going. I know tomorrow is really the day. So I'm planning on doing a podcast episode with Virgie to kind of get us all in the swing. And then I'm still cooking. Let me cook over here. I'm cooking for the rest of January, so it's going to be interesting. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.